coach Scottie Montgomery. ECU is 2-2 overall, 0-1 in the American. Pirates were in action Saturday against Old Dominion. ECU won the game 37-35. Pirates are on the road this week. Saturday's East Division game at Temple. It will be a noon Eastern time start on ESPN News. And as you mentioned at the top of the call, Nate Harvey of ECU is the American's Defensive Player of the Week, and ECU kicker Jake Verity is the Special Teams Player of the Week in the conference. Coach, thank you for joining us on the call today. If you would take a minute to tie up the game against ODU, maybe some thoughts on Nate and Jake and their weekly honors and what you expect as you get back into conference play Saturday at Temple.
Yeah, we're coming off a very exciting victory for us. I thought that our defense played well throughout the game. We had a few mental errors on defense and our pass defense. Outside of that, I thought we played really, really well offensively. I thought we played well as well. We've used some creativity to be better at running the football. And then it was really, really good to see Jake be able to come in there at the end and put it through to give us a victory. One thing I'll say is that Old Dominion is a very, very, very good football team. I can't say enough about them. There was no fluke whatsoever of them beating Virginia Tech. They were so big at the skill position and so talented at the skill position that it gave us some hard times in the passing game. And I thought their quarterback came in and did a really good job for them as well. And they played extremely hard, so it was good to be able to get that victory. Going back to our defense, though, Nate Harvey, I thought, played one of the most complete games I've seen a defensive player play in a long time. He's got a lot of energy. I like the way we're rotating our guys on defense. So when they're in there, they're extremely fresh. He had 3 sacks, I believe 3.5 tackles for loss, and did a really, really, really good job. And then, to ever be in a position as a kicker, you never know how much you rely on your kicker until they're out there with very few seconds on the clock to try to win the game. And that's exactly what Jake did. So we're really excited about that. Happy to move back into conference play. We're going against a great Temple team. A lot of experience in this team, even though some of that experience hadn't been a starter always, but a lot of experience. As you look at their team, you see a lot of redshirt sophomores and seniors and juniors and grads, and that comes from a long time of good recruiting, but also it comes from guys staying there and going through some good times and bad times together, and now playing at a high level.
Any questions for Coach Montgomery, please? Star 1 on your telephone keypad will put you in the queue. The new operator will introduce you. And again, Star 1 for questions, please.
We'll go to Tom Shanahan with Riley News Observer.
Hi, Coach. I wanted to write something on Trayvon Brown. His averages are pretty even with last year, but he doesn't have that big 100 or 200-yard game. I just wonder if you could talk about his season from the start to now and how he's having to deal with maybe more double coverage or whatever else you see out there from him this year.
Yeah, he's drawn a lot of doubles, but what he's been a lot more consistent this year. He's having a better year this year than he did last year at this time. He's been more consistent in his route running, much more consistent in the run game for us. We can move him around a lot more than we moved him around last year. But he's drawing doubles. Sometimes he's even seen an underneath wheel defender with 2 over-the-top defenders. So we've been able, because of that, to throw for 300 yards or so and get the ball spread out to a lot of receivers. I think our quarterback is doing a much better job of spreading it around. But when we do get a chance to strike with Trayvon, we try to do it. He's still getting to the end zone like he normally does. We just happen to go about it a little bit different.
And then overall, just his maturity from when he first got there and you first got there to where he is now as a person.
When we first got here, he was, he was ineligible to play. People would let us know bits of information about him as we got here. We didn't know if he was going to be available or not. But ever since the first time I sat down with this young man and I told him exactly what I expected from him, he's worked really hard to do that. Sometimes when you lose football, is really good for you, especially when you're at that age. And it really focused him to take care of his responsibilities. His grades from that point in time continued to climb. He got his eligibility back. He had an injury after he got his eligibility back, so he couldn't lift last year. So that was a little bit of a setback. And then once he got his eligibility back, our next deal was I just wanted to make sure that you understand the only reason why you come to college the only reason is to graduate. And then he got an understanding that could happen. So he'll graduate this semester. We're really, really excited about it. His level of maturity has gone through the roof. He's a guy that we're learning to count more and more on, and just been very, very good to watch the maturation process of him. He's been great.
Thanks, Coach.
Any other questions for Coach Montgomery, please? Star 1 to join the queue. Coach, I'll take the next one. We touched on your defense and the play. Oh, we do have another question. Never mind mine. We'll go right to this question, please.
Michael Zingrone with the Temple News.
Hi, Coach. My question is about Temple and this upcoming week. Looking at film, what are some of the basic challenges that Temple presents to your team?
Offensively, multiple formations. I mean, they can send one personnel at you and get into just a variety of formations. I think Wright, number 13, Wright, just you can put him anywhere in the formation. Extremely talented. I think the quarterback has a live arm. I think he's a really good player, and trying to get Armstead on the ground is a really, really tough task. He runs the ball hard and downhill. I like their skill. I like Bryant, the receiver, 6'3", 200 pounds kid or so, maybe a little bit bigger. I think they're really skilled, but offensively, that's what provides the challenge. Defensively, man, they run to the football. This team plays hard. It is Temple tough. I like their second level. I love their linebackers, Bradley and Russell. They provide a lot of pressure and stress in the run game on you. Also in the pass game, I think they're very active in their defensive secondary and up front. I think they got a lot of size and a lot of skill. So they've done a good job recruiting. Those are the things that we see. And in special teams, they just continually apply pressure on you. It's just everything they do is about adding pressure, and that's not necessarily defensively by adding 5 or 6, 7 man pressures. It's just the people that are coming. They always press you in a lot of situations. So those are some of the things. Offensively, like I said, just multiple formations with a lot of skill to get it to.
Yeah, you mentioned the multiple formations. It seems like Temple, especially over the last few weeks, has made an effort to really spread the ball around to multiple players, whether it's having 2 different quarterbacks or receivers or running backs. So game planning around that, like how hard is it to game plan when they have multiple formations and they try to get close to 10, 11 players the ball throughout the game?
No, it's tough. That means we got to spend time on all those formations, but it also it allows us to go and really concentrate. When you got a quarterback that they'll spread it around, you really have to be sound all over the field. So it gives us a chance to be really, really sound all over the field and not concentrate the ball going to one area all the time. So it's very, very tough to prepare for because just like in anything, you don't have all the time in the world, especially in collegiate athletics. These guys are students first. So preparing for all those formations, preparing for all the people, it does provide quite a challenge.
Thank you.
Coach, the one I was going to ask you is if your defense, you touched on it earlier, but the improvement that your defense has shown, I mean, it's 200 yards better, about 20 points per game better than it was at this time a year ago. To what can you attribute that type of drastic improvement at this point of the season?
First all recruiting, the kids, the players first. All that. Put all that in just an unbelievable ability. We're playing a lot of new people. We're playing some young guys at some positions, and we're playing some people that no one knew about or heard about before this year. So that's one of the things. The second part of it is coaching and the staff and the relationship between the staff and the players. I love our defensive line right now. I think our defensive line is playing as well as I've ever been around a defensive line play in college ball. And I think that their coach, Rod Wright, does a tremendous job of making sure that we're fresh, but we're faster. When I talk about recruiting, I've talked about it all last year. We have to become faster. We became a lot faster. We're really, really fast on defense. Outside of our 2 interior tackles, we average around 4.58 to 4.59 as a total defensive ends included. So that means that we're running at a high level, and we've gotten a lot faster.
With Coach, thank you for that answer, and thank you for your time today. We look forward to hearing from you once again next week.